Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been 2 weeks since my Fit Model competition, and today we're going to talk about everything Fit Model, my thoughts on the category, my judges' feedback, my coach's feedback, my next step for Fit Model as I am not done yet, and how my reverse is going, and everything in between. But first and foremost, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of those of you who've been following me along this journey since day one. As you probably know, this is not my first comp prep series. I was a bikini competitor for 4.5, 5 years prior to going Fit Model, and this was a long time coming. This was my official first win in my class and first win overall in any category, any division ever. And so it really just showed me that Fit Model is where my physique aligns, which is awesome that they created this category this year. And I'm gonna get into my thoughts leading up to stage and where I was at mentally going into the show. But first, if you don't already, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. I love seeing your comments. I love seeing your feedback. I really appreciate each and every one of you who've been following my journey. So keep the comments coming. Feel free to ask questions. I'm very transparent about, my journey, competing, health and wellness, where I'm at. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and comment what you guys want to hear me talk about and sharing my own experiences. Let's get into the Fit Model category as a whole. So if you are new to my channel, I won my very first Fit Model competition 2 weekends ago in Massachusetts. It was a natural show. There were about, I want to say 15 total competitors. There were 2 different classes, and I won my class, the novice class, and the overall. So I'm very, very excited to be taking home that overall champion Fit Model title for the first time ever at this show, having Fit Model. Also my first time competing Fit Model because I've always been a bikini competitor. If you're new to what Fit Model is, my understanding of Fit Model is essentially it is a little bit less than bikini. So you still want good delts, you still want good glutes, you want a little bit of a hamstring tie-in, you want a tapered in waist, very similar to bikini, but our suits are different. We're not as lean, we're not as, I don't want to say striated because bikini competitors aren't striated, but they are very defined and they are very lean. We're a tiny bit less lean and a tiny bit smaller in size, and posing is definitely different. But as a whole, I would say, in my opinion, Fit Model's like baby bikini. That is how I see it. I loved all the competitors. There was a wide range of competitors. I would say about 50% of the girls were brand new competitors, just new to competing as a whole. And the other 50% were bikini girls coming back because they just couldn't keep up with the standards of the NPC bikini division. So the actual division itself was a blend of people, which I loved. I loved my look, very different than what my typical look is. I went with a red bikini, my dark straight hair. My last show, I was light hair, silver bikini, so just totally different look. And I think this really transformed my ability to stand out on stage. Every person I spoke to, judges, coaches, friends, and family included, were like, oh my God, my eyes went right to you. I've been putting off wearing a red bikini because everybody tells me with my dark hair, I should wear red, and I just, I didn't want to wear it, but I gave in, I wore the red, and it really stood out. Will it be the color I wear to nationals? We will see. I'm not positive yet. I have a couple other colors in mind. I'm gonna see what my coach says. But yeah, loved my look. It was the best package I've ever brought into a stage. I do believe that my current package is still too small for bikini. So I do think Fit Model is exactly where I align and where I belong. The actual routine itself was very quick. I would say 10, 15 seconds at most. The judges were not super strict with this, which I told they would be. At nationals, I know they will be, so I do have to tighten up my routine a little bit, but at the local level, they kind of let the girls do their routine. No one was kicked off stage or anything like that. I kind of knew I was going to place well when they moved me. So when I first came out for my first round of comparisons, I was all the way on the end. The judges quickly moved me right to the center. However, there were 6 girls in my class, so I was splitting center with another girl. So that being said, not saying that center is always the winner, but it's a good indicator of how you're doing. And the fact they got me on stage and moved me right to the center was a good sign. I was over the moon when I won my class, never mind the overall, because this was the first time I have ever been first place. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my thoughts were going into this competition, going into this show. I kid you not, a week, maybe 2 weeks before this competition, I had a conversation with my fiance and I was like, I'm done competing. Like after this, one and done. It's taking a lot out of me. I'm spreading myself too thin. I felt like I was becoming less of a person in other areas, which 2-3 weeks out from a show, you're going to be there. Your brain fog's going to be unreal. You're not going to bring your best self to your work, to your relationships, to your friends, to your social gatherings. Like all of those things get hindered those last few weeks of prep. And I just like wasn't getting the outcome I wanted. You know, I've been third, I've been second, I've been fourth. I've always been told more size, for bikini specifically. So I honestly wasn't going to compete this year until the NPC came out with Fit Model. So I was like, yeah, I think this is my one and done. I'll try Fit Model. We'll see what they say. I might take a few years off. We're getting married. We want to start a family. So I'm just kind of like, you know, maybe this competing thing is not for me. Well, I did not expect to win my class, both open and novice, and the overall, and qualify for nationals at my first Fit Model show. And I'm not gonna lie, this sparked a fire in me to continue. My dream has always been to step on the Olympia, but I am a natural competitor and I will not do unnatural means to get myself there. So I knew that was an unrealistic goal as a bikini competitor. As a Fit Model competitor, I do believe this goal is realistic. Whether I'll be on stage the first Olympia, the 10th Olympia, I don't know. But I do think it's a realistic goal to have. That being said, I obviously need to go for my pro card. So, nationals. But let's go back a second. Let me go back to the judges' feedback first. Because I was like, again, I was done. I was like, no matter what the placing is, I'm done. I just want to have fun. I just want to like get off of prep. And then I was like, no, this sport is my love, and I would get bored being an average person anyways, going to the gym, you know, not taking my physique to that next level. So I was like, you know what, maybe we will go to nationals. Let's get some feedback first. So the judges' feedback. Now, this was my first time with the NPC, and I absolutely loved the way they did the production. It was a huge show. Well, huge for me because I'm used to small natural shows with like 30 contestants. This was like 70 contestants from my understanding. This is a small NPC show. So it was a small show, but I thought it was very packed, very well produced, you know, right on schedule. The audience was packed. The judges were incredible. Right after the show, I approached the judges and I asked them for my feedback, which I've never been able to do with other federations. And right then and there, the head judge and the judge next to him were like, take this package and run to nationals. And it was such a good feeling because I've always been told, be bigger, be leaner, be bigger. And now they were like, no, like you are Fit Model. Like your physique is Fit Model. Now go to nationals and do the best that you can. The only critique I got was working on twisting my hip a little bit more in my front pose, which I agree with. Like I can make my waist look a lot smaller. My waist was like 23.5 inches on stage day. It doesn't really look it in the photo, so I know I can create that illusion of a smaller waist. Now, given the feedback of the judges, nationals is now in my, you know, thought process. Now it's what nationals? Because there's nationals this upcoming weekend. There's a nationals in a couple months. There's a nationals in 6 months. Like which national show do I do? So I wanted to get feedback from my coach before I really decided like what my next steps were. Talking with my coach, even before I won my class, won my category, which my coach was very supportive and the best coach I've ever had. Very straightforward, very honest with me, but also, you know, there when I needed him. Now, his feedback was, you look great, Sam. Like you're lean, your glutes look good, your hamstrings are good, your shoulders are good for a local show. I'd like you to be a bit bigger for nationals. Now, this is before I won. So I already said, you know, maybe I'll do a nationals. I want to see how I place. But also I was kind of telling him, like, I'm also done competing because this is taking a lot out of me mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. So I was all over the place emotionally and mentally, honestly. So his feedback right from the get was be bigger in your shoulders and your glutes, and let's see what the judges have to say. So he wanted to wait and kind of see how scoring went and see what the judges said before we determined what we were going to do, because if I didn't qualify, I wouldn't be going to nationals anyways. After I got my judges' feedback, I ran to my coach with it. And my coach was like, let me think about it. Let me come up with a good plan and we'll go from there. Because I do want you to have some more size, because you have to think at the national level, everybody is qualified to be there. Where at the local level, anybody can compete, right? Anybody can get on stage, and all the girls were very competitive. Like, don't get me wrong, they had amazing physiques, but knowing that everybody at a national level had probably won their class and maybe their overall, I know it's going to be a much more competitive show, and I know I need to bring a more competitive package. So, and I am totally open to being a tiny bit bigger. Like, I want to build size. I'm just a hard gainer. So, given my coach's feedback, given the judges' feedback, my current plan is to compete at the Amateur Olympia in Vegas the week of the Olympia, so first week of October, and bring the best package I can bring to that national stage. Now, our thought process is it's usually a little bit of a smaller show. Only the top 3 overall get their pro card, so not the winners of each class, but the top 3 overall. I'll also be able to see the Olympia, go to the expos, meet all these competitors from all over, and I've never been to Vegas. This also is about a 4-month time frame where I can build for a little bit of time before going back into my prep. I know a lot of people don't believe in a lean build, but I am a huge advocate for it. My last show was in November, this show was in May, and I definitely put on size in that time frame. And I never gained more than like 8 to 6 pounds. Like right now I'm about 3 pounds up, and I'll get into my verse in a second, but I do believe you can lean build your muscle. My body is only going to put on at most in 1 year like 2 pounds of muscle. I've been training for 14, 15 years almost. I've been competing for 5 going on 6 years. This was my 7th show. Like, I know I am not going to get any newbie gains at this point. So why would I put on 20 pounds of fat to gain 1, maybe 2 pounds of muscle? So, I mean, I'm not going to put on a ton of muscle between now and October, but our goal is maybe a half a pound, maybe 3/4 of a pound, but 3/4 of a pound on my frame, I'm like 5'2" and a half, is pretty good. So that's what we're going to go for. So I'm hitting, shoulders 2 times a week, sometimes 3 every once in a while. I'm hitting legs 3 times a week. Very similar split, focusing on glutes, hamstrings. I'm hitting delts, back. I am hitting core all of my training sessions. My cardio has been tapered back, so I am only doing about 4 days of cardio for 25 minutes. I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit of like inclined walking and running. I just like to run. As my calories go back down, I will take that running out. I am at about 1,500 calories, about 150 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, so a 1-to-1 ratio there, and fats have been bumped up. So I don't currently have a cycle. I should be getting my cycle maybe next week. I am definitely feeling some symptoms like some bloating, some irritability, increased hunger, typical like PMS symptoms. As my calories go up, which we didn't go up this week, I did do check-ins today with my coach. My weight is up, I think, a total of 3 to 4 pounds since stage. I did have a really big jump in weight this past week, like 1 pound to 2 pounds, where I have been kind of increasing by like half a pound. But my waist is the same. My glutes are like crazy up. They're like up an inch from like show day, or 1.5 inches. I think a lot of that's just edema. I've been hitting my workouts pretty intense now that my calories are back up, and again, I've been running. I have been using compression therapy. I bought myself some compression boots, which are amazing. I highly recommend them. I will link them down in the description for you guys. I use them 2 to 3 times a week for about 30-40 minute sessions. My HSA account covered it, so if you can get it covered, why not? But yeah, so that's my current split, my current training. And calories will continue to increase as I'm currently going into a lean building phase, but not really putting on a ton of weight or body fat. Like, I think the most I'll gain is maybe another pound or 2. Like, we're not trying to gain a lot. Our goal is about 1/4 of a pound each week, if that. And especially because I've jumped up a lot this week, but I had some digestion going on. I'm back on my creatine, so water retention is real, and my cardio was dropped this past week. So we'll see where my body is at then. I will say the biggest difference between this prep and my last prep, and the reason I think I brought a better package to stage, is I had no wiggle room. Like, I was on point in my off season. I was on point in my on season. I had 0 alcohol, very limited meals out. When I did have meals out, they were fully tracked. All of my meals have been tracked and weighed. I hit every single one of my workouts, every single one of my cardio sessions. Sleep was a priority, so recovery has been a priority. And this is the best I've ever looked going into a show. Definitely the best I've ever felt coming out of a show. And I know I'm only going to feel better as I continue to reverse diet back to a more metabolically healthy stage. So that's all I have for you guys. Short and sweet today. Got to share a little bit about my win, what my next steps are, what my judges' feedback are. And again, it was just such a good feeling knowing I actually fit a category that I'm competing in, where I felt like I was still the bottom end of bikini like for years. So to feel like I'm more middle of the line, closer to the upper end for fit model, and knowing I just fit that physique a lot better, that has me very excited for nationals. And obviously my goal is to go pro, but just going to that national show, getting some high quality judges feedback and knowing what I need to do for the 2026 season will be incredible. I'm gonna keep posting for you guys. Next week, I'm gonna do what I eat in a day on reverse. And I'm gonna do it on a day I allow myself some fun food. I still track, I still hit my macros, but I do allow myself one meal out a week when I'm in a reverse phase and when I'm in a kind of lean building phase. I don't go crazy, I don't binge, but just showing you the reality of being a physique athlete. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of discipline. I do allow myself some flexibility, but I'm pretty much always on. You're never really completely off. You're either, in a lean building phase or you're in a cutting phase, but you're never just off season if you really want to take your physique to that next level. Again, if you don't already, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. So excited to continue to share my journey with you guys as I prep for my very first NPC National Show. And the fact that it's the Amateur Olympia has me over the moon because I've never been to Vegas, I've never seen the Olympia live, and it's gonna just be a really good show no matter what happens. So stay tuned for more on that.